Okay, Assalamualaikum and very good morning. Today I would like to talk about our new topics, which is the last topic on the subject of electrical machine. So we go for the synchronous machine. Or synchronous machine can be divided to two part lah. We can have the synchronous motor and also synchronous generator. So now we go first to the basic principle of the synchronous machine. So for this machine, we have general features. First, we know that this is a doubly excited machine. Where we have two kind of winding in this machine. The first winding is on the rotor side, where we inject the DC current in the rotor side. This we call it the field winding on the rotor side. And on the stator side, we have the armature winding, where we have AC power supply or AC current flow that's there. So we have these two main winding in this synchronous machine. So first we go, for example, we see as a generator, synchronous generator as example. Okay, you can see here this is construction of the synchronous generator. So we have the here we got the machine there where they got the stator terminal where we have three-phase voltage here come out here, depending on whether it's a generator or the motor. If the generator, we got supply there, we got supply output from the machine. And with the motor, we apply three-phase supply here. So depending on what kind of machine, for generator, we have output here, three-phase balance voltage supply here in the stator terminal. And here in the slip ring, we inject the DC current. In the field winding, we have DC supply. We inject DC current there through the slip ring. So this current will flow to the rotor side to create the magnetic field there. So when the motor start to rotate at the synchronous speed, it will create the rotating magnetic field in the machine itself. And this is a prime mover where we have depending on the kind of the generator. If we have like a power station, we have the steam turbine. So it's on the hydro power station. We got steam prime mover, water turbine. Got water turbine prime mover. And if we have the steam as a supply, then we got the what call it, the steam or the gas turbine here. So that means there's very high speed lah. For high speed, we use the steam or gas turbine, and for low speed, we use the water turbine, depending on this thing. So when the prime mover start to rotate, the rotor will rotate, and when we excite the rotor, it create the rotating magnetic field in the system. So when this rotating magnetic field will cut the stator conductor to generate the three-phase voltage here. Why we call this synchronous generator? Because the speed of the or the frequency of the rotor equal to the frequency that produced in the stator side. That's synchronized, same frequency. That meaning by the synchronized machine. Alright, so in terms of construction, the machine can have two parts. The first part, you call it the stator or the armature side, where they have the stator winding. We got A bar, B bar, and C bar. When each phase is split by 120 degree. And on the rotor side, we have the rotor winding. So you have rotor winding where we inject the DC current there. Like that. So we got DC current flow in the rotor side. So this will become the pole or the magnetic pole there in this machine. So the source of flux come from this rotor side. Okay, so when you IF there, this rotor or field side, and this armature side. Alright, so here is a bar give you the magnetic axis of phase A. You can use the right hand rule. So by using the right hand rule, the resultant flux is moving here. So this represents the magnetic axis of phase A. And for the rotor side, depending on the direction of IF there, this one become north pole and this become south pole down there. And this is a magnetic axis for the rotor side. So the angle between here is theta degree lah, that we studied before. Is theta degree, where the angle between stator magnetic axis and the rotor magnetic axis. Theta degree angle there. This is a basic construction of the machine that we call it the silent pole machine, where the rotor look like silent pole lah. You can see the silent pole. They got pole there. So that's why you call it silent pole. And this kind of machine normally used for the low speed operation. Okay, the turbine is slow speed. Okay, and normally it consists of large number of poles, and typically used in the application like hydroelectric power station, for example in Kenyir or in Temenggor, Cameron Highland, and so on. So whenever we see the power station based on water, they use for water turbine. Normally they use this kind of machine. They call it silent pole machine. Alright. So when the flux cut the rotor conductor, when the flux cut the stator conductor, it will reduce voltage. So we got with A, with B, with C, like that, simple like that. The second construction, you call it the cylindrical kind of machine. So in this cylindrical machine, we have similar stator winding like before, but the rotor look like cylindrical part. So it does not have any pole. It does not have any silent pole, but it's like cylinder. Just bentuk cylinder lah, cylindrical form. Right? So similar like before, we have the axis for phase A, and we axis for the rotor side. When the axis for the rotor, the angle between that is theta degree. And normally, this kind of machine is used for high speed operation, where the rotor move very, very high. And normally, it's driven by the prime mover based on steam turbine or gas turbine, like that. And because of the very high speed and the number of pole is small, because we need to generate same frequency, we must know that the frequency of the rotor must equal to the frequency of the stator. Same frequency. That's why, because of high speed, and we know the formula for the speed equal to N equal to 120 F divided by P. And because of high speed, then definitely the number of pole must be smaller. Right? In order to generate or to create the same frequency of the output of the generator. So high speed means that low number of poles. So this kind of machine normally applied for the power station like in Parker, in Port Klang, and some other power station which depend on the steam turbine or gas turbine. Alright, this is some pictures of the silent pole machine. You can see that this silent pole machine, they have big diameter with short length there. The length not too very short length only, with big diameter. This is the number of poles. This is all of poles there. You can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And this starter under construction. This starter part. Previous is a rotor part, silent pole. This starter part under construction. You can see that the diameter very big, but small length. Length very small. This is to show you the non-silent pole, which is cylindrical machine just now. It's a short diameter, but length, the structure is length like that. More longer than the other one before, right? It's longer structure. It's longer, but short diameter. And here is you can see that part of that is used to excite the DC current there. Exciter lah. We have exciter to inject DC current there, so that the rotor become magnetic. The rotor can produce magnetic flux there. Okay, so how the system work now? Okay, right. So we have the rotor there. We got the stator part A bar, B bar, C bar, and we got rotor there. In this example, we represented by the silent pole. So when the prime mover rotate the silent pole, okay, and then what happened there? You know that silent pole become magnet now because of we inject the DC current, and it rotate at a synchronous speed. So this flux will cut the stator conductor. It produce voltage like this one: A bar, B bar, and E bar, E B bar, and E C bar like that. So we know that A is a reference. So B lagging by 120 degree, and phase C lagging by 240 degree. Simple, I think. This is very simple. So we can see that here the field current in rotor produce sinusoidal flux air gap. The rotating field produced when rotor rotates, and rotating field induce three-phase voltage in three-phase winding of stator. This kind of voltage look like in the stator winding. Similar to induction machine, the RMS of the induced voltage per phase is given by this formula lah. This excited or induced voltage excitation voltage produced in this machine equal to 4.44 multiplied by F multiplied by flux and K. Kw, where EF is known as excitation voltage. Okay, excitation voltage. Later on, we go much more detail. What is excitation voltage? But briefly, it's given by this equation. Okay, and similar like before, the F frequency equal to NP divided by 120 lah, where N is a synchronous speed and P is number of poles. In order to know how much frequency here generated in your power station, given by this formula. This N is the speed of your turbine or rotor in RPM, rotation per second, rotation per minute, and P number of poles divided by 20 gives the frequency in hertz. Alright, this voltage look like, excitation voltage look like when we respect to RF lah. So we can see that here, relationship between EF, excitation voltage, and field current. So like that lah. So if you plot the EF versus IF at open circuit condition, the generator in open circuit, so we have this kind of plot, okay? At one speed lah. So when we drive our turbine in one single speed, we increase IF, then we plot EF, excitation voltage, we have this characteristic. Again, EF is depend on the excitation voltage, depend on the speed. Okay, the bigger the speed, the bigger the voltage. The bigger the rotor speed, the bigger the voltage produced. Okay, and the flux per poles, hence IF lah. So if IF bigger, excitation current much bigger, then we can have more flux. More flux mean more voltage induced. And then you can see the characteristic there, it exhibit saturation as flux in core saturated, like we did in before lah. Previously, this they call it residual flux there. IF got 0, we already have voltage there due to the residual flux. Okay, and then with IF increasing, F increasing linearly with IF, and after certain point, you can see that even though we increase IF, the voltage increase, but not like before. Increase slightly, gradually and slightly lah. This one is point where the machine become, the core becomes saturated already. Alright, so this slide show you the application of the synchronous generator. We can have many kind of synchronous generator based on the source that drive the generator lah. The source, for example, we have hydroelectric power, we got thermal, we got nuclear source, we got oil source, and so on lah. And we have transformer there. This they call it transmission transformer. So from the low voltage generation, it will step up to the grid voltage, and then similar for this one lah. Everything must be simplified first up to the grid voltage before we can connect to the grid. So in order to do synchronization, or in order to be able for each generator to be connected to the grid system, they must follow some rules. For example, all generator must have same frequency, same voltage, and same sequence. For example, this generator ABC, and all must follow ABC and so on. If you generate different sequence, you cannot join the grid system. Okay, this is an example of the grid line. We have the grid line there, depending on what kind of grid. Now we can have 275, we can have 500 volts, and some other kind of grid lah. And then after that, before the consumer can use it, you need to be step down again using transformer there. For example, in this system, 230 volt, step down to 40 volt transformer, and then step down again to 4.16 kilowatt transformer, and then step again to the 600 watt or 400 watt used to industrial load. In Malaysia, we use 415 lah. In Malaysia, we use 415 volt for the industrial load. And for the domestic users, for example, home appliances and so on, this voltage will be stepped down using pole transformer to the value of like that lah. We can go to the 230 volt and so on lah. So this is a kind of generator. Okay. So in order to do synchronization, in order to join the generator to the grid system, we need to use a special device. They call it synchrometers like that. Synchrometer. So this one, when the meter is at the middle there, the meter is moving, is rotating now. When the meter here is at the middle there, that means everything is synchronized. The voltage is same, the frequency is same, similar, and the sequence is same. And then you can push the button. You can close the switch so that your generator here can be connected to the grid system. There is a system for that lah, but basic principle to understand just like that. In order to join our power generator there or power station there, it must follow this one. So once these three things similar, I mean between the generator and the grid, the synchrometer will be up there at the middle here. See there. This meaning that the system is ready now to be synchronized. Then at that point, the operator can push the button to connect the power system or the power plant to the grid system. Okay, that is a basic explanation about the synchronous generator. Now we go to the synchronous motor. What is the difference between these two? We know that synchronous generator from mechanical to electrical system lah. From mechanical, from turbine, we got the electrical system. Synchronous motor is differently lah. Synchronous motor means we have to apply voltage to get the mechanical lah. So the voltage, the electrical change to the mechanical, electrical energy change to mechanical energy. Okay, so in this motor, we need to connect supply three-phase, balance three-phase to the stator terminals. So this current, IAI, BIC, we create the rotating magnetic field like in induction motor. So this similar lah, like for principle dia. We connect the stator terminal to the AC supply. It will create rotating magnetic field, RMF, rotate at the synchronous speed, which is equal to NS equal to 120 F divided by P. However, rotor won't be able to rotate or start. That's the problem with the synchronous motor. Not like induction motor. Induction motor, the motor can have starting torque, something like that lah. So it can move, but not in this synchronous motor. Because of what? Why the motor cannot not be able to rotate or to start? This is some explanation about that. We can imagine like this one. Okay. So this your N south ni represent the rotating magnetic field produced by the stator current or stator winding, and it has very high speed lah. For example, in this case, because this speed equal to 3,600 RPM. I mean very high speed of our rotating magnetic field. And this is our rotor of the machine rotor. What happened now? Because of here, the motor has very high inertia, J. So now you got north pole there and south pole there for the rotating magnetic field. Because of that, the motor south pole try to attract to this north pole. So it move. You can see here it move. The motor, the main flux, aggregate flux moving clockwise now. So because this is north pole and the south pole try to catch, it attract each other. The south try to catch the north pole, it moved here, and for this part try to attract the south pole, it move here. Okay, at T naught, for example, at T naught. But what happened at T1? Okay, because of the fast moving there, the quick moving of this flux, rotating flux. At T1, this one becomes south pole, it becomes north pole, because its flux is rotating, right? So now you can see that because of this south pole, then what happened? They try to attack. Attract this one. The south pole, they try to attract this one. Attract the south pole down there, and this one try to attract to the south pole like that. That means it just. You can see that the movement of the rotor is like vibrate. You cannot. This one on the left side, on this one on the right, this one on the right side, this one on the left side. It's like vibration. It cannot catch the main flux there, main air gap flux there, because you can see that this like vibration without any catching there, because of the fast moving of the rotating magnetic field. So how we solve the problem? how we solve the problem, how we can create torque in the machine so that the machine can rotate synchronously with the air gap flux. So this one can be solved by, first we can use the we call it a variable frequency supply, where we inject the, okay, this is a three-phase supply just now. We go to the frequency converter first, where in this frequency converter, normally it's inverter lah, inverter block. We can change the frequency, and also we can change the voltage. That means at the beginning, we apply low frequency, low frequency, low voltage. That means our rotating flux now, NS ni, because frequency is low, it's moving slow lah. It's not moving the 360 RPM, lower. Maybe 5 RPM and so on. Very low. What happened then? Because low speed, so the rotor able to catch. Because rotor have it got inertia, but because the speed of the rotating magnetic field very slow, it able to catch. When it catch, it will clamp lah. And when it catch, where the north and south pole catch each other, so this rotor will clamp in this field. So it will start to just follow lah. When it clamp, it just follow the flux moving there. If flux moving fast, it just moving faster. If flux moving slow, it moving slowly. So that how it work lah. So that's meaning by that. So the first one, we use the frequency converter, or normally in power electronic we call it inverter lah. Inverter starter. So we start using inverter. So at the beginning, we apply low voltage, low frequency. So what happened then? Our rotor able to catch the flux, synchronous speed of the flux, and it will rotate synchronously with the flux. And this is the first thing that we can do to solve the problem. Okay. The second method, we can use this special thing. They call it we start the machine as induction motor lah. So we start the machine as induction motor. That means that we have the rotor speed. The rotor speed will be very close to the synchronous speed. We know that in induction motor, the rotor speed mean the very, very close with the synchronous speed, but it's not similar. It's not clamped at all. Because of that, we can use, they call it special damper or amortizing winding. They put here somewhere there in the rotor side, and so this one can be done. Can be do something. I mean, we can do something to enable this damper lah, so that after that the rotor can have speed similar like the synchronous speed. Okay, you can see that the rotor has squirrel cage construction. Fine, we understand that. Damper located at the cage. Here, this is a damper lah. This is the damper there, or damper winding here. At synchronous speed, no current induced in the winding, and you understand that, right? So when the motor operates at synchronous speed, and R equal to NS, that means there is no current in the winding. Later, the DC current is excited in the feed and rotor lock with the synchronous speed. Okay, so at the synchronous speed, there is no current flow in the machine, in the rotor side, and then because of that, we can easily inject the DC current to the rotor side, so it become flux, it become main flux in the system, and then it will catch easily lah, because the speed very close each other. Okay, so then the rotor can have the same speed like synchronous speed. Okay, I think that's about the introduction of the DC synchronous generator and synchronous motor. I hope all of you can have some understand about that. Thank you very much.